Great rise. You know what it is. You know who it is. It's your girl, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. It is Melanated Monday. Great rise. Great rise, beloveds. I'm doing double work today. So let's do it. Y'all know what it is. It's Melanated Monday with your girl, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. I want you all to come on in here so we can have some discussion. And I'm gonna have a guest come on. A gentleman asked if he could join me tonight based on the topic, and I'm so glad that he did. I'm hoping that you all will also choose to participate in the conversation. I'm gonna make sure we don't get disturbed while we're having the conversation because it's deep and it's necessary. I don't know who just came in, but I appreciate you for being here and stay. Okay, just stick around. Just stay with us. All right, so we got a comment. Anyway, come on in. Okay, we are discussing the emotional censorship of our Black males. Let me walk away for a second. It's hot as all get out in here. All right. So I'm gonna give you all a minute to get in here. What's going on, G? I see you, loved one. I'm gonna have my guest call in a few minutes, maybe like 5 minutes or so. He should be in here so we can talk about it. All right, this might be one of those. It's not as deep as the last conversation, but it's still gonna be deep. So you might want to share it, share the videos with other brothers in particular. Y'all know what I do, how I do it, and why. So if you want to share the video, you can start doing that in maybe 4 minutes or so. EV, what's going on, beloved? I'm so glad you made it. I'm so glad you made it. I'm going to be posting the phone number in a little while. So I have a guest that's coming on. So we will be discussing everything, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So make sure y'all join me in the conversation, okay? Everything that we're trying to do, that we're saying, let me rephrase, everything that we're saying we are going to do with these brothers, this is a beginning. This is how we get it going. So if you want to come on in here with your notes, take some notes because I'm asking questions and I'm looking for some answers. This time, this is how we start, right? We got to get these answers. So come on in. What's going on, y'all? Star. I see you, loved one. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let me answer these messages real quick, y'all. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't throw y'all out. Sorry about that. I had to answer. I had to answer. Okay, but I'm done. I'm done. Who else we got here? Jermaine! Thank you, beloved, for being here. I see you. I see you. Corey, thank you for being here, loved one. I appreciate you for being here. I see my girl, Stephanie. Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you all get a chance to stay for this conversation. And like I said, if you want to call in, feel free to do so. The number is 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. Just Shayna showed up. What's going on, beloved? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Again, I will be having a guest come on in about 2 minutes or so. For those of you who may not have seen what we were discussing, I know, right? You may not have seen what we're discussing. Tonight, we're talking about the emotional censorship of Black males. That's heavy, right? The emotional and spiritual censorship of Black males. So come on in. So we can get started. You know, I like to try to start right on time, but I just don't like talking to myself. So I'll be waiting on y'all. But we can go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and acknowledge you all, the rest of you all who are here, because when we actually get started, I'm probably going to hold up on that until I start reading the comments. Well, tell Miss Julie, I said hello. I said great rise and I miss her. Make sure you tell her that. Time to get started. Yep, it is. We about to do it. You as well, y'all. So it was good seeing you, beloved. What's going on, Lil John? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Okay, so here we go. I gotta bring my guest in. Anthony, I see you, loved one, but I need you to either say something so I can pull you in because I see you, but you showed up with like 3 other people. So I need you to come on in. Okay. All right. What's going on, Robin? Thank you for being here, loved one. That's right. F them damn feelings. You know, it ain't forgetting. That's just a polite way. You know what I'm doing. Anthony, I see you, love. I'm trying to put you in independently because you're showing up with everybody for some reason. So you might have to send me a request because I don't have you on here by yourself. Send me a request saying that you want to come in. We are friends, aren't we? Because that could be an issue as well. But send me a request so I can pull you in here. Because I see you. Let me see if I can send you one. I can't even send you one. So if for some reason this doesn't allow you to come up on the camera, call in 770-906-5271, 770-906-5271 if it does not allow you to come in. I don't know why. Let's see. So let's go ahead and get started because we got a lot of you all in here. What's going on, fam? We all over the place. Salute. That's what's going on. I appreciate you, loved one. So again, tonight's discussion is the censorship, the emotional and spiritual censorship of Black males. Why are we having this conversation? Because it's absolutely necessary. Being an advocate of my brothers, I get to see and hear so much of the trauma that you all don't speak about. I see it. It reflects in your behaviors. It reflects in your attitudes. It reflects in the things that you don't say. It reflects in your abilities to get things done. It reflects in your sleeping habits, in your eating habits, in how you dress, how you carry yourself, in the words that you use, the words that you refuse to use. It reflects. Okay, it reflects in your relationships or in your abilities to have relationships or inabilities to have relationships. It reflects. You all have been told and conditioned for so long not to acknowledge that you have feelings. Let me pull you in. I got you. Not to admit that you have experienced any type of trauma. Okay, there he is. Sir Anthony, I'm glad you made it. Glad you made it. So, like I said, you all have been conditioned to basically ignore everything that's going on in your head. You're being told that if you express it, it makes you weak. It makes you less of a man, that you're not supposed to shed tears and all this type of thing. Before I go into it any deeper, let me just introduce my guest here that has graciously volunteered to come on in and share in this conversation. This is Anthony Strayhorn. Brother, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be here. This is many layers right here, Kim. There's a lot of layers in this conversation.
Indeed. Well, come on with it. Let's just get into it. Let's get in. Go right in. Just go. Go right in it.
All right. Yeah. So, this is an interesting topic because, I started out in my profession working on physicality, helping people get more fit, focusing on nutrition. And as I started to do more of the my own interpersonal work, I started to see that mental and emotional well-being is like one of the most foundational things we can ever do for ourselves, to address it, to acknowledge it, to talk about it, and to really go into it very courageously and to address it on so many layers. Because traditionally, historically, the Black community has not addressed these issues over time, and so we're now in a space where we're at now in the world where a lot of these things are being addressed, and it's coming out many different ways, and many different expressions, and many different forms. And I'm grateful for that, because wow, it's a hard thing to talk about what hurts, what's triggering, what's traumatic, and it's what's necessary for ongoing healing.
Absolutely.
For us to continue to foster love and connection and joy with each and everybody around us. So I just want to say that part. But there's so many parts of this. I mean, we could just pick one morsel of this and really just go right in. So I'm gonna let you lead it. I'm gonna flank you.
Oh no, just whatever you need to see. This is part of it. Whatever you need to say, because that's like
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That is part of the condition. I'm sorry. That's part of your healing. But like I said, my understanding, there are 3 levels or 3 processes that start your healing. And the first one is to acknowledge the trauma. That's one thing.
Yeah.
People, like I said, men in particular, don't want to even admit. And if y'all new here and don't know that I curse and I don't clean it up. Okay. Men don't want to acknowledge that they have been emotionally mind fucked. They don't want to admit that somebody got over on them, that they have experienced some type of trauma. That's an issue. You know what I'm saying? So because they don't acknowledge that they have been manipulated emotionally or spiritually some type way, it stays with them. So it's like they find a way to suppress it, but that's all it is. It's a suppression. And you can suppress something so deep that your conscious mind thinks that it no longer exists, but your subconscious knows it's still there. So don't think because you're not consciously thinking of it that you're not still infected by it, because it's still there. If there's no closure, no healing, it's still there. Trauma exists and lives in your body. People don't understand that either. It lives in your organs. It is literally there. So one of the things when men are told not to cry, you have to cry. And I speak about this all the time. When you see when a woman bawls out, when she cries and lets out everything, when she's done, she's done. She's good. She's in a different place. She's been able to release those traumas literally out of her. Men don't do that. So those traumas build and you become sick. You know what I'm saying? They backfire, okay, on so many levels. So like I said, the first thing I'm going off, the first thing is to just acknowledge the trauma, acknowledge what has gone on, what has hurt you, acknowledge that you have been hurt, okay? The second is to speak it out of your mouth, because if you don't speak it, it stays in your head. It remains a thought. Remains something that is manipulated. It can be manipulated if it remains a thought. When you speak it out of your mouth, you are speaking in a vibration, in a frequency that goes out into the universe, that goes out into the Most High, the Creator, however you want to receive that. There is a command being released. You have to speak it out of your mouth. The power is in your tongue. Release it. Say it. What it is that you need, what you want, what you are affirming, what you're claiming, all of that. You must speak it. But so many men are afraid to speak it because, again, that mind, that ego says, well, if I tell somebody how I'm feeling or what I experienced, then they're going to use that against me. They're going to be able to have control over me. They're going to be able to manipulate me. Get out of that thought, because the thought, the process, the purpose is for you to heal, not to be concerned on what somebody else may or may not do. Because the only way the people have power over you is to manipulate the mind. If you release the trauma that's there, there's nothing that can manipulate you, because you have taken control of your own selves. That's powerful. There's power and strength in that. Don't get it twisted. It's not the other way around. So the third thing is accountability. Now you have to hold yourself accountable for why you are still experiencing or still holding on to the trauma. What are you doing to either heal from it or hold on to it? You are responsible for your own mental, spiritual, and emotional health. You're responsible for that. And you have the ability to make sure that you're healthy in all of these aspects, but you have to hold yourself accountable. Too many people, male and female, want to blame other people for why they're still in that fucked up mind state. It's your fault that I'm still here because I tried to tell you, I told you, and you did blah, 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 or whatever. That can't happen. You have to make a decision on what you want your life to be about, what it is you want to experience. Make a decision on what you want and then take those steps to achieve it. It's not necessarily going to be an easy step. It's not going to just fall in your lap. You're going to have to go through some shit. You're going to have to climb over some mountains. You're going to have to dismiss some people in your life. You're going to have moments where you're sitting by yourself and you hear nothing but your own breath. It's going to be those times, the tower moments. They occur because they have to. But go through them, my brother, please, because we need you to be healthy. If you are not healthy, we are not healthy. I'm going to be quiet for a moment because, I can preach. I can keep it going, but you go ahead, bro. I want you to talk.
I wrote down. No, it's all you're touching on the atmosphere and the conditions of things that we see right now. That's totally on point with that. There is a lot of underneath that too. When we talk about the things that we've experienced as men, a lot of this has to do with the way in which we were in an environment from a family standpoint. And I know personally, as a young man, I was told a lot of things by the elders in my family, specifically the men, around what makes a man, what a man doesn't do.
Right.
There were a lot of toxic terminology used to describe what a man is, what a man doesn't do.
Absolutely.
So already from that point, there's this crafting of an identity of what you are, which is usually already limited and very much narrow, based on cultural norms, based on customary practices and all these rituals and things like that. And I understand they're all part of how we figure out what is life, what is the experience of identifying as something. However, with further analysis as we are now, we can start to see that at some point, some of these things became toxic. Mm-hmm. Some of these things were not healthy. A lot of times, for example, what you touched on, Kimberly, about not crying, not expressing emotions, not being vulnerable, not being authentic. A lot of that has to do, and this is not just men, this is people period, but men specifically, because men are told, don't cry, man up, you don't need to be showing off any kind of softness.
Right.
Well, we repress those things because those are ways in which we protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
And those protection mechanisms can sometimes be internalized and create the trauma that you're talking about.
Right.
Which then leads into these triggers that we don't understand, create these like reactions or these expressions, responses to things down in our adulthood. So there's a lot of unearthing of a lot of this stuff from
Absolutely.
understanding as young men, young men, young boys, how we adopted these protection mechanisms, repression, avoidance, all kind of different defense mechanisms. I mean, they're all psychological.
Right.
And then understanding the nature of our environments.
Right.
You know, we've lived in this country, we've lived in a very much like hyper masculine, in the sense that masculine being defined as like, it has to, if you're not this way, then there is no other in between space. There's no other like either this or that, and that gives a very narrow way to how we identify as men.
Right.
And then this whole thing about the accountability. So now that you're aware of all these things, you are clear about what are some of your triggers, what are some of your traumas, what do we do? And you know, that's where we bring in therapy, we bring in community discussions and forums where we address these things. And I feel like that's where we're leaning more into those things now, especially since the way the world is now. There's a lot more discussion around mental health in general, and particularly we're addressing Black men specifically.
Right.
That's a massive area. You know, there's a lot of artists, a lot of athletes, Black men who've come out and talked about their bouts with mental health. I mean, I can name off several just off the top of my hand. I mean, some very important ones I feel like really had an impact on a lot of people is Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Will Smith.
Right.
A lot of those people, I mean, those are just a few, just to keep it simple here. I mean, just to highlight, like, there's a lot to go in here, man. This is like a national, I would say, crisis.
Absolutely.
It's a national experience.
Absolutely, it is.
It's a national, so.
Absolutely. And when you spoke about the man's identity, how you all are told what a man is or supposed to be like, the sad part about that is that you're, as our Black women, you're being given a definition on what you're supposed to be like from somebody who ain't even you. You know what I'm saying? You're being told how to be a Black man by somebody that's not a Black man, that's never had a Black man's experience. And then you're teaching your sons to be what they said he's supposed to be. Says what? You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me how to be me because you're not me. You'll never experience my experiences. And we have to, this is a conversation that we need to have. So like a lot of times too, Black men and women are bickering at each other and pointing fingers, and the Black men are saying, you know, the Black women are leaving them, and the Black women ain't shit, and Black men, y'all ain't shit. I mean, this is constant. You know what I'm saying? We're blaming each other. If we just stop for a moment, listen to what we're saying to each other without our feelings, just listen to what we're saying, we would hear that we're speaking about the same psychological manipulator. We're speaking about the same enemy, and it ain't us. You know what I'm saying? We're being taught to play against one another. We're being taught to compete against one another. We're being taught to play games emotionally with one another. I was talking to a friend of mine about this today. He hung up on me though, but it's all good. As far as how men and women play these emotional games with one another. When you're in a relationship, the person who cares the least has the most control in the relationship. I'm like, what kind of shit is that? Like, why is it about that? We're conditioned to play games with one another. We're being taught how to relate with one another by people who don't want us to relate, who don't want us to be together in the first place. Why are you following this code of destruction? You know what I'm saying? And then justifying it. You got to play the game with this brother. You got to play the game with this. No, you don't. You don't. We've been doing that for far too long. But that stems from an emotional and a psychological trauma. It continues. So it's like at this point, we start to defend and justify the psychological trauma. We're defending why we're playing, why we need to play these games. We don't. The games is what's got us fucked up.
Yeah, it just speaks to what we have identified as our story in life. Like, this is who I am. I've identified so much with this hardship, with this pain, with this suffering. that it becomes you. It almost becomes enamored into your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so this brings up a visual moment.
Absolutely.
There's a moment in the first Matrix when Neo is being ushered through the city, through this construct, through the computer construct, with Morpheus. And Morpheus, he says something very specific. He says, you have to understand, Neo, there's a lot of people who are aware of what's going on, but they're willing to fight to the death to keep it alive.
Exactly.
So that's a tough, that's a huge thing to digest and take in, because you can see what's going on right now in the world.
Yeah.
There are people fighting hard to keep this whole story together, even though they can see the fucking holes in it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
to extrapolate that idea and take that into people continuing to show or express these unhealthy ways of behavior in our communities that deal with roots of manipulation, of exploitation, all these things. So there's that. So once we have this awareness, a lot of us have this awareness, and it's what you do with the awareness.
Right.
We have an understanding that there's something that isn't quite healthy with how I'm being as a man or how I'm being as a person. What do we do with it? What do we do with it? Because we can keep allowing ourselves to be in denial that we don't have control over this, because we do. It does take some deep digging, though. It's not easy. This is not going to be an overnight switch.
Right.
It takes many moments of this spiritual and soulful exfoliation. Absolutely. We got to get rid of some of this old dead skin.
Absolutely.
And it takes a community, it takes a village to raise each other.
Right.
And we're always so. Once you're aware of it, Kim, then you have the power to actually make a pivot.
Right.
Is it easy? No, but it doesn't mean the change doesn't have to be this massive, huge override of things.
Right. Absolutely.
You slowly start to realize that you have awareness, you have mindfulness, you have knowledge itself. To say, let me pause, let me breathe. I'm triggered, and there's a space between the trigger and how I respond.
Right.
That space between, once we can widen it, ooh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
When we can widen the space, that's where the healing begins.
Absolutely. I'm gonna take. I got a call real quick. G Walker, I know it's you. What's going on, loved one?
I tried to hide in the sky.
You can't hide. What's going on, love?
Nothing much. I just want to piggyback on what the gentleman was saying. Well, not necessarily piggyback. I made a comment. You probably see it. I'm gonna reiterate it real quick, and then I'm gonna get off the phone.
Okay.
The bottom line is, a holistic man is one who. I'm just taking myself, for example, what I did a long time ago. You dealt with myself spiritually, dealt with myself mentally, dealt with myself physically, financially, in every aspect there was. Because when I was coming up, and I'm just keeping it real, you had to really kind of have dealing with the females, the kind that I like to deal with. You had to have yourself together. You understand what I'm saying? So there couldn't be no misconceptions or this and that, yada yada. You had to get yourself together. So the kind of environment that I want to be in is set for myself as far as trying to, be successful in whatever I was aiming to do, whether it be school or whatever. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that you have to come to look at it goes back to Michael Jackson. You have to look at that man in the mirror, and that's a hard person to look at if you're not real. To our own self, be true. If you're not real to yourself, then you ain't gonna be real with nobody else.
That is correct.
Also, a broken man is one that's not saying that it can't be fixed, that it should be fixed, because if you can't see the whole mirror, you can't see that the mirror is broken. If you're looking in a broken mirror, you don't even know it's broken, because you need to fix what's inside of you first. Because that mirror has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with your spirit. You get that spirit man right, everything else will fall into place. Say, oh, it's big, it's really not. I'm letting this tie me up. My question is, though, and I already know it's a rhetorical question. I'm gonna let it go with this. The bottom line is, like you were mentioning about the Willie Lynch, that Willie Lynch called and texting everybody, and everybody keep answering.
Yep.
They won't shut the phone off. Huh?
Facts.
And how can you go on with something you weren't even around 200-300 years ago, even though they said it was foolproof and it's showing to be like I said, like we said, Saturday, the two powers or the two main superpowers of a man is his mind and his mouth.
Yeah.
You can speak blessings or you can speak curses. Oh man, yeah, but you can't speak at all if you it's always raining in your head, because you can't hide from they can hide from you, they can hide from me, they can hide from a whole lot of people, but one person they can't hide from, that man in the mirror, themselves.
That's
and
correct.
Until their own self be true, until you deal with able to talk to someone. But then again, there may be something. I'm gonna tell you about the psychic too. Sometimes you can talk to her. You say, well, the therapist, yada yada yada. Sometimes it might be somebody that you might want to talk to that might just be a friend or associate. Sometimes yada yada yada. Somebody that you can hear. But the way God designed it is for us to have each other somewhere, somebody, at least one person that we can kind of confide in. Not necessarily say everything, but just confide in and let loose. Because there have been people of that I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna call no names. Television ministers that I've talked to, big time, in person, that have told me things, in confidentiality, that I'll hold to the end. Nobody would ever know. But I mean, I was shocked. But they just felt compelled to talk to me.
Right.
Away from the cameras, away from all the media, away from all the, just to be real. And we talk about it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying. So the financial aspect of a man, your financial, social status, whatever you want to call it, it does not matter. And it doesn't mean a thing without that spirit man being together. You get that spirit man together because it's the head and the heart. You can't even love completely. You can't even love yourself without having you together.
Absolutely.
And it's all interconnected.
Absolutely.
And until you get it together, you ain't gonna be together.
That's right.
And like I'm gonna end like this. Like my parents always told me, especially my mother, when you misery loves company, your association brings about assimilation. That's why you see people that's in drama, they love drama. That's what they oh, this man, this ain't no good man out here. No, you keep putting that out there in the atmosphere.
Right.
You can't handle a real man anyway. You can't handle a real woman anyway.
Right.
Because when you see it, you pass them by, say what's their birthday, and they say they weak because they're not, because you stagnated in your thought process. Because the only ship is jumping ship. You can't take no. You don't know nothing about taking no vacation, or you don't know nothing about going somewhere and opening up your mind, because you'd rather be stagnated by your women mentality. Yeah. That's why you don't get no. Anyway, I'm gonna go.
I thank you always, honey. I thank you always for calling in.
You know how I feel about you.
I do.
Yeah.
I thank you, darling.
All right,
beloved.
I don't get my comment on that. I don't comment on that, but I agree for you.
I'm gonna go back and read the comments. I just want to have the conversation and then go back. All right, love. All right, love. Bye-bye. All right, you can go ahead and continue with what you're saying.
Yeah. I thought what he hit on is very much, what we've been talking about, especially about the importance of understanding that the healing has to start within yourself. You got to face yourself.
Right.
You got to, and that's at the core of it, because that's where you take your power back.
Absolutely.
Because for years,
absolutely,
we've given our power away.
That is correct.
Our power to other groups of people to self-identify for us.
Right.
And we've done this so much for this exchange of acceptance.
Right.
The expectation that if I allow myself to be accepted or to be so-called socially integrated, then I'll be whole and complete. Like, no, you're already that.
Exactly.
Nobody's broken. I'm gonna give a little spin on this perspective about broken people. Ain't nobody broken. Okay. Nobody's broken. What it is that we are told that we are something. We are told we are something that we don't even realize we've already had in us. So we travel the world, we go through our lives thinking that we are missing something, that we are not awesome, whole, and complete, and expansive, and ever evolving. But once we travel the world, we go to the ashram, we go to the temples, we go to Tibet, and then the master tells you, he looks at you and says, hey, did you ever look inside? That's where your enlightenment is.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh shit.
Right.
Oh shit. Well, I have it all. I don't need to do anything else.
Exactly.
That's the journey, though. That's the
Indeed.
journey of life. Like it's what they call the homecoming.
Right. Okay.
So
come on
it's
back.
the homecoming.
Right.
It's the home. It's coming back to the home. It's
Absolutely.
coming back to the prodigal son return.
Absolutely.
He grows. He matures. He's masterful at his skills, and now he goes to travel. Comes back and he realizes, I'm already the man.
Right.
I'm already complete.
Right.
So facing that self,
Absolutely.
facing the person in the mirror.
That's the hardest part.
And he was also touching on the whole idea behind like the story that we keep telling ourselves and how we identify with that misery. That fucking misery will eat you up.
Exactly.
But you know what? For some people, that's all they know.
Right.
They all know, and it's tough. It's tough to try to offer support and hold space for those people. It's not easy, especially when it's our family.
Right.
I know people, when it's our family, we're like, shh.
Right.
I'm trying to hold it together.
Right.
I'm trying to love you. I'm trying to have fun, but it's not always easy.
Right.
And it's the work, it's the game that we signed up for. If we're trying to heal, it's the game.
Indeed.
I was gonna say one little thing.
Go ahead.
A download that you all can play with, like if you take the word health, it has heal in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It has health, heal in it. So helping everybody achieve longevity through healing, health, helping everybody achieve longevity through healing.
That's what's
health.
up.
So as long as you live, as long as you choose to be in this experience and all these different expressions of sensory, you're going to be involved in that.
Absolutely.
And
if
so
you want to put that in the
that's the biggest
comments,
thing.
put that acronym in the comments.
Yes, I'm going to do it right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely do that. I had this thought yesterday, and I always pay attention to my thoughts. I wouldn't even say it was my thought. It was information given to me. When you think about the story, the biblical story, and I'm not a religious person, okay? I am not. But when you think about the story of the children of Israel taking this 40-year journey that was only supposed to take, a matter of days or whatever, and it took 40 years. Is that correct in the numbers? Somebody could tell me yes or no. But it took longer than it was supposed to, okay? It was given to me yesterday that it wasn't so much about the physical journey, that it was a mental, it was a spiritual thing. You keep doing the same shit. You keep having the same mentality. You're in the same spirit. You're in the same negative vibration. You keep doing this in your mind. Your mind has to change. Your mind has to elevate and grow. This is why they kept going. This is why it took 40 years. It wasn't about the physical journey. It was the emotional one. It was the spiritual one that took so long. And I said, for men, sometimes it becomes a lifelong journey because you all are so conditioned to just stay in it, to just walk the same way. You know what I'm saying? Don't veer off, just walk the same way, to keep your blinders on, staying in defense, just go. And whatever happens on the side, you don't even see it, just go. So you don't even allow yourself the opportunity to receive what you need in order to heal. You don't do it. And then like the world doesn't even give you permission to speak what's going on in your head. That's why I said it's censorship. Black males experience emotional and spiritual censorship because you're not allowed to speak on it. But that's the main part of your healing process, is to get it out of your head and speak it out your mouth. Speaking it out your mouth also means you're going to ask for help. You're going to let somebody else know that you need assistance. That's the power of speaking it out of your mouth. If you all don't understand that the system is not set up for you to survive in it, is not set up for you all to be healthy-minded in it. You got to be rebels at this point. You got to rebel against it. You got to be healthy. You got to do everything you're told not to do. Everything the world expects you to do the opposite. All of that. You got to be completely opposite of what the world is saying that you are, or what you're doing, what you should be doing, what you're about, what your name is, Toby. Come on now. Everything's got to change. Y'all got to do some healing, because it's like, if you all are not healed, we can't heal. We can't heal. There's so many people that are not in healthy relationships, or not in relationships at all, because in their mind, everybody's fucked up. Or maybe they're fucked up in their own mind, whatever it is. Something's got to change. This has got to change. Like, get out of your ego. I say all the time, fuck your feelings. Get out of them. Get out your feelings. Look at things for what they are. Feelings falsify facts. Look at the information. What is present? What is bothering you? What is causing you not to sleep at night? What's causing you to have nightmares? What's causing you to cry or want to cry and can't? What's causing you not to be able to say something? What's causing you to be able to be manipulated by somebody else? How about that? Because that shit happens. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people have roots on your ass. And I mean that for real too. People do things to other people to control them emotionally so that they don't waken up. Because again, we say misery loves company. So the misery also is manipulative, and it will cause somebody to be miserable as well, to stay with them. But if you don't recognize that as such, or if you don't allow yourself to utilize the strength that you are as God's, and I mean that, then you will stay in the position of being manipulated. You don't have to be. You are created as God's, and I'm not taking that back. I'm not going to fall back on it. I'm not going to change my mind. You are created as God's, literally. They're mighty ones. It's a mighty one, period. There's nothing that you cannot do, but you have to be in the mind frame to do it. You have to be in the spiritual realm to do it, in the spiritual space to do it. Get the clutter out of there. Don't be afraid to admit what's going on with you. You don't have to be quiet. The picture of the man's mouth being taped up, like he couldn't say shit, because the world don't want to hear it. Because as soon as you say it, the power is released. That's the thing. As soon as you say it, the power is released. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah. There's this, I want to offer some practices for getting into that speaking to expression, because that's a huge part. That's a huge part of where energy gets blocked in our throat. We don't say how we feel, so we end up having all kinds of illnesses and diseases in our body.
Absolutely.
Like you touched on earlier, diseases and illnesses a lot of times root down to the blocks of energy in our body, with the lack of circulation of energy.
Absolutely.
So, whether it be you have a journal, and you write down some thoughts that you feel, you speak it, you write it down in that way, or you have a friend, and I'm speaking specifically in general, but I'm also speaking about how we can actually exercise this. To me, get it out, exercise it by talking, forming a men's group, or talking to somebody that that is willing to listen without judgment. They just want to listen. They're not even going to try to give you no advice. It's like, I just want to listen. Write the stuff down. Exercise. That's a huge thing on how you can get out what you're feeling, to get all that pent out energy out. Because once you start to express yourself, you start to feel your power. You start to feel, wow, I got all this in me. I got all this to say. I got all this to communicate. You feel lighter. When you feel lighter, you get more into the enlightenment.
Absolutely.
You get close to the light within yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's already there. And like you're saying, get it out, express it. Because our words have power. It's energy, it's currency.
Absolutely.
The word current is a form of how electricity flows. It's just an expression of electricity, electrical energy.
Absolutely.
And when it's in a certain conduit, like financial situations, they call it currency.
Yep.
So it's the way in which energy is directed. So when we know how to direct our currency towards whatever that is, we can start to loosen up all that shit in us that's stagnant, that constipation.
Absolutely.
So whatever that. So there's just some things, talk to a friend that's close to you, gather in a group of people, reach out to some people, and sometimes just get it out, just fuck, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Kimberly.
Yep.
You want to send me a direct message and say, hey, I just want to just express this. I don't really want some advice. I just wanted to express it and just process it so I can get it off my chest, get it off my heart, get it off my mind. Cool. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
You know, so I want to bring up this one thing, and then I'm going to hop off again.
Okay.
To my daughter. Many indigenous cultures of people have oftentimes had the council meetings of the tribes, of the villages,
right,
where everybody comes to these big, huge circles, and the elders sit in the middle, or they sit at the top of the circle, and they direct the whole circle. They facilitate it, where they talk about everything. They talk about what's coming up, what's present, what needs to be talked about. So that's something that I feel like what we're doing here in this space is just through a social media interface.
Right.
And we're having town hall meetings, we're having these council meetings, we're having these tribal conversations to address what is at the heart of the matter. What's the interview we need to talk about? And this is important. This is important because there's a number of people who are addressing these same kind of things, same kind of dilemmas in our communities. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's so beautiful. It's confronting. It's raw.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of tears, which is beautiful. I'll tell you this, I cry very easily.
Okay.
Because I've done a lot of spiritual work, though. I've done some deep stuff.
Right.
And it feels amazing. It feels like there's a whole other level of muscle I tap into when I release that sacred water. I release that. So I know it's not easy for a lot of us to cry as men because we're protectors. We're the ones that hold down the household and all those things. And you could be vulnerable too, because that's another layer of strength too. Strength isn't just what's on what's the shield,
right?
The shielding of things,
right?
It's also how can you be here inside,
right,
for your woman,
absolutely,
for your partner? How can you connect in there? Because see, that's up in here. Right. We're very much men and a very mind, logical, organized, A plus B equals C, like
right.
But it's the best that we have to play into that helps us get into that embodied masculine man where we are everything. We're not just a football player. Right. We're not just a man with a lot of money. We're all that. Right. And we're not at the same time because we define what the fuck we want to be. You know, and that's a lot later conversation. And, you know, depending on who you ask, everybody might have a different definition. So right. But at the end of the day, figuring out what works for you, what doesn't, and lean into the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, community. You know, immunity is in the community.
That's right. That's right.
Immunity is in the community. So.
Yes, sir. When my phone was trying to die, I had to catch that real quick. It's sitting still a little bit. Hopefully I got it though.
Yeah, this is a beautiful discussion. I think we can continue to have this. I mean, we can talk on this. Oh man, I can go on this all day.
And you know, we're going to. What I think I'm going to do is just put on my spirit today is that I probably will start holding some like Zoom live meetings or whatever, and it'll just be an open forum. But we're going to actually have some real life going to some places, have some real town hall meetings because for what I'm doing and a couple other brothers, we're trying to find out what do you all need. What are the needs of the Black men? What are the needs of the young Black youth? We need to know what's going on so we can fix it. We gotta have a solution to the problem, not just keep talking about the problem. So this is becoming reality. It's manifesting. It's going down. So if you want to be on the panel, let me know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know I'm ready. I'm already there.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just putting in one more last thing. Proaction.
Okay.
So, you know, the action that being responsible for our own life.
Right.
Proactive. Like no one is going to save us.
Correct.
But us.
Correct. That's it.
So I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
If we are the ones we've been waiting for, we heard that one, right? Then what the fuck are we waiting for?
Exactly. Boom. And drop the mic. That's it. That's dope. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. If you want to leave any of your contact information for people to reach out to you if they want to, feel free to do that.
Sure, I'm gonna type it real quick.
Okay.
Just type, they can just reach me via Facebook. That's the easiest way right now.
Okay.
Cool. I'm website out here too.
Okay. Yeah, the brothers got to stay connected. You all have to know that it's okay. You all have to be able to have a safe space where you can say whatever you need to say. You can express whatever you need to express and not worry about being judged or walked out on, or your business being out in the street, or the information being used against you. Whatever it is, it's got to happen. The censorship has got to be removed. You are allowed to speak. Your voices matter, but we have to hear you. You have to speak. It's okay to speak what's going on with you. You need to do that. That's part of the healing process. Please do it. We need you. I always speak on myself. I need you, but we need you. We need us.
Right.
We must heal. And like you said, we can't wait on nobody else to save us. We are the saviors. We are the saviors. Right. We it.
Yeah, and that's what the masters and the yogi teachers and the people who are the priestess and all the shamans are telling you. When you start to do these deeper, especially when you do psychedelics, you start to love that.
Right.
You'll start to know that everything you're searching for is within you already.
Absolutely.
And this is a constant reminder and affirmation of coming back to that experience.
Right.
That we already have everything we need to exist in this experience. It's just that at some point we become disconnected from the source.
That's a fact.
We've allowed ourselves to be, and it's not like there's an element of the victimization, and there's also the element that the flip side is that the hero within yourself to save yourself. Because no one's coming to save you but you.
Right.
So, there we go. I just typed in all that stuff there. So.
Okay.
Cool. All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, love. Thank you so much again. Peace. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna start reading some of these comments. My phone was dying, so I had to move the camera. So let me go back and read what y'all are saying. I appreciate everybody that has shown up, whether you stayed or not. You showed up, so I appreciate that. So we got a lot going on here. Kevin, hey. Kevin, wow, went through that. Oh, Kevin, you said you went through that today, huh? Okay. Rob, are you still in your feelings, Rob? I'm gonna need you to get out of them. Erica, what's going on, loved one? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Nicodemus, thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. Simon Stone, what you saying? Say, that is me. Held it until became a horrible person. Thank God for therapy. I know that's right. Thank God for therapy. Marla, what's going on, loved one? Appreciate you for being here. Thank you for coming. E.B. Davis says, confess one to another, but who can you trust? To be effective in this world, the captives killing each other, and I don't want to fail. Okay. G. Walker says, if you stagnate one part of your life, then you stifle your inner being from growing, and you cripple yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And if you're not whole, let's see. Gee, you be writing books, yo. Let me say, and if you're not whole in any aspect of your psyche, then how can you live with a peaceful soul? You can't, because you'll always have to try. Who you feel might try and shame you as being weak. Not. Okay. Your biggest strength is in your most notable weakness or lack thereof. Why? Because a person will protect their biggest shortcoming, lack, flaw, vulnerabilities, or inability to say or do something with all their might. That's a fact. Evie says that I was going to be just like my father. Okay, he didn't want to be just like his father. He was afraid of that. Okay. We got this guy. We already got him. Judah, what's going on, loved one? You said, so I'm good enough and strong enough. Absolutely. You're better than that. You're better than good enough and strong enough. You're better than enough. Know that. But you know that. In other words, come out of her, this world system, my people. Absolutely. Please and thank you. G says, so as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. How can your male cousins allow their mentally broken, oppressive leaders to trick them into believing they're broken themselves? I don't know what I just did. Um, Sorry, G. I don't know what just happened. But yeah, let me just move on. Fred, what's going on, loved one? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Is that it? Okay. So yeah. Yeah, so those of you who are just joining, I appreciate you for coming in. We're gonna wrap it up though, but the main thing today is dealing with or addressing, dealing with addressing the fact that our Black males have been conditioned to be quiet, that there is a social censorship, if you will, as far as Black men, males being able to express what's going on with them, to be able to even ask for help, to be able to acknowledge any of their traumas. Society does not permit you to speak your truths without giving you some shits. We know this. However, fuck them. I said it out loud, no apologies. You have to heal, which means you have to do whatever you need to do to heal. And I don't mean deal with, I don't mean to put the shit in the back of your mind and your subconscious, because it's still there, whether you acknowledge it or not. It's still controlling what you do. It's still controlling how you think, what you think of. It's controlling your health, all of those things. Whether it's in the forefront of your mind or not, it's still there. It's still a connection. Release it. Allow yourself to release it. The censorship is off. Take the tape off your mouths. Remove it and speak. Speak your healing. If the power is in the tongue, then you need to speak it. Speak your life. Speak healing upon your life. All of that. It matters. Your voice matters. Make it heard. Your voice matters. Make it heard. Say something. If it's I need help, it's okay to say that. That's a strength, to admit that you can't do everything by your damn self. You weren't supposed to do everything by your damn self. That's why your woman is here. We're here for each other. We are the mirrored images of one another. I am you. You are me. Masculine form you are. I'm your feminine form. Come on now, let's do this correctly. Stop bullshitting. Let's heal, please. Can we please? That's all I got, yo. I'm just tired. I'm tired of seeing my brothers hurt so much with the life that they have to just suck it up, that they have to just deal with it, that they have to do it by themselves, that they can't ask for help, that they can't even completely acknowledge that it's there. If you're not okay, say you're not okay, and let's work on making things okay. Let's do that. Let's work on making things okay. Make them better. Be healthy. But you gotta say something. You gotta say something. Don't just sit there and be quiet and suffer in silence. There's no need for that. That's what the world wants you to do. That's what the system wants you to do. Suffer in silence. Take this, Toby, and don't say shit. That's what they want. Do the complete opposite. Rebel against that. Be healthy. Live. Choose life. Do what you got to do. Please. Please. All right. Well, I think I have said all that I need to say. G, you said I meant to add the subordinate conjunction to in my last comment. Okay. Well, I probably didn't even get to the last comment because something else happened. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna let you all rest and ponder on what has been discussed today. What we haven't discussed today will be discussed again. You can believe it. No, you can know it for a fact. Don't believe it. Know it for a fact. Know it for a fact. We're going to have this conversation again in more detail. We're going to get deep. because it's time. We need to get that clutter about your mind. We need to clean some space out of them closets, put some new things in there if we must, but make them clean. All right. All that other junk, it's time to declutter. It's time to declutter. Again, shortly, myself and some other brothers too that were on the line tonight we're gonna be in the streets. We're gonna hit the streets and find out what it is that y'all need and start putting the footwork. If anybody is interested in joining us, male or female, contact me. If you know Gary or EV, contact us. Let us know you want to ride. You want to be part of a solution. You want to get some answers. You want to be part of bringing resolve and peace and health to our brothers and to our community, period. Let us know. All right, get at me. In the meantime, I'm about to go so I can chill out, make a couple phone calls. But join me again on Thursday from 8:30-ish to 10 with On the Move, unscripted, on purpose. The ladies roundtable discussion. We talk about everything, and I mean everything. So join me then. I'll be live, of course. And Miss Patricia M. Goins is in the A, so she'll be live with me on Thursday. Okay. All right, loved ones. Y'all know what it is. Always and forever. I love you on purpose. Alexis, what's going on, beloved? Replay this, please. But thank you for being here. I love you on purpose, with purpose. And until next time, peace. Peace, y'all.